Mind, just like body, is a function of the individuation. It is not the enemy. Its natural function is to perceive, assess, categorize, label, so that we can function in the three-dimensional world. It starts when we're babies. We recognize that blob as mother. And on mother we depend for nourishment and safety. That is the beginning of differentiating my mother from all other blobs. This mother I need, the other ones perhaps not, unless this one's not here, and then it gets transferred to another one. So mind is helpful even at that rudimentary form, and then we develop and it becomes more sophisticated. Then we can do things, create things, plan things. Mind in its natural capacity is untainted by the problems of self, untainted by I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not perfect enough, and so on. However, because these remain mostly, or often, as unexamined beliefs about ourselves, or about the world, or about others, then mind becomes tainted or tethered to the self-identity. And then mind becomes a tyrannizer. We are tyrannized about the thoughts. We are tyrannized by the thoughts about ourselves. And because the thoughts are about myself, we start to identify with those thoughts. And this ends up with who I think I am and not what I really am. What I think I am becomes a source of much agitation, of much restlessness, of much self-torture. It's not mind itself that is the enemy, but the fact that it is tethered, enmeshed with the self-identity. When we embark on a deeper inquiry as to who I truly am, as I like to say, what I truly am, it is one way of looking at it. There are many ways of looking at it, but one way of looking at it is an unsticking, unmeshing of mind from self-identity, so that mind can return to its natural state, as do we. That's true nature. So in that, mind is not gotten rid of We don't become mindless. We don't return to some kind, or regress to some kind of blob nature. But mind comes into its natural function. There is a clarity in that. Mind has clarity because it's not occluded by self. Mind is then not turned towards self and what's wrong with me, and how can I get there, and how can I get more of that, and how can I make my life the way I want it to be, and how can I achieve my dreams, and how can I, whatever, manifest this and that and the other. It stops being a tool for self-service, and starts becoming a function of true nature. So it has more clarity. It is able to focus. It is able to do a task, plan, write, whatever it is. And then it goes back to rest. In other words, there's a lot of energy, if you like, life force, whatever, taken up by mind's enmeshment with self. But when mind returns to its natural function, tiredness, exhaustion on that level is not there. In that sense, when mind is not limited by the finite self, my problems and my this and my that and so on, then mind itself stops being limited and a limitation that we try to break free from, but becomes that which it always was and is prior to the occlusion by the self, which is wide open space, sky mind.